I just took a massive risk on a single book, and in this video we're going to see if it pays off or if it ruins me. Yesterday I found a rare book I'd been hunting for years, but to buy it would cost me every last penny I had. But after searching for it for so long, I couldn't afford to let this opportunity pass either. So today I'm going to show you how I came to buy it, tell you why it's so important, and see if we can sell it by the end of the week. So yesterday I made a routine trip to a fellow antiquarian bookseller. I'd seen two rare books of Indian and Arabian folklore in his listings that I wanted to buy, so I arranged to go and see them. It's these two books here, and on seeing them in person I discovered they were very nice and decided to buy them. But before I'd even arrived at his office, on the table next to these two books he'd placed this larger volume. So after I'd finished examining these, he said, "Now, since you like these two books, I think you might like to have a look at this." And before I even opened the book up to see what it contained, I had a feeling that it was something I'd been looking for a very long time. See, one of the books that I bought is rare and important. It's the first edition of the Hitopadesha, a collection of Indian animal fables that was published in Bath in 1787. And the person who published it in Bath and who translated it for publication was a man called Charles Wilkins. And 2 years before he made this book, he published the first edition of the most sacred text in Hinduism. So I picked the book up, I looked through it, and the second I saw the binding, I decided I had to buy it no matter the price. But when I asked my friend the bookseller the price, it was far more than I could possibly afford. These two books together were expensive enough, but this one would cost me nearly 10 times as much, about $10,000 in total. I sat there looking at it for a couple of minutes in silence and then said, "I'll buy it." Now, impulsively buying books you can't afford is a sure way to go out of business in this trade. So why did I roll the dice on this book? Well, it's a very rare book. Copies come up on the market incredibly seldom, and the last two copies to appear for sale in decent order made in excess of $20,000. And that's because this is an incredibly important book. It's the first printing ever of the most sacred text in Hinduism, the Bhagavad Gita. I can open it up and show you the title page here. And this is a book that was published in 1785 under the auspices of the East India Company. And the book was the result of collaboration between English and Indian scholars, specifically between two great minds, Charles Wilkins, a clerk at the East India Company, and the Brahmin Katanatha Bhattacharya. What they produced in this book was extraordinary, because this isn't just the first edition of the Bhagavad Gita. This publication founded Sanskrit studies in the West. It was the first book to be translated directly from Sanskrit into English. The translation was done by the first Englishman to master the language. It marks the first appearance in the Western world of the most sacred text in Hinduism, and its publication caused a tidal wave of other Sanskrit texts like the Hitopadesha making their way from east to west. All of those things combined made buying this an irresistible opportunity. But I'm an antiquarian bookseller by trade. I can't just sit here and look at it. Now I need to find a new home for it. Our first job is to make sure we haven't made a complete howler and bought a dud. So I have to check this book page by page to make sure everything is there and as it should be, and that this is a book that collates complete. I love how here you can see the print from the page behind in really clear impressions. That's a really good thing to see. It means we're talking about a book that's still fresh, still in beautiful condition. And we get to the end of the book and it is indeed complete. So that's a sigh of relief. So now it's time to write up our written catalogue description for the book. This has a dual purpose. A big part of it is to provide an honest and accurate account of the copy of the book in front of us, so accurately describing its condition, its binding, any flaws it might have, so that a potential buyer has all the information they need. But the other part is then trying to sell the book. It's talking about its qualities, its historic importance and significance, and why somebody would want to buy our copy of it. So now that's done, we can't afford to waste any more time. I have someone who I think might be interested in buying it. So I'm going to give them a quick phone call now and we'll see what they say. So that is potentially promising. They'd like to see some photographs of our copy. So we'll nip next door and take some photographs of it now to send over. The kicker is going to be the price. Are we going to be able to find a price that they're happy to pay, that also can see us make a little bit of money on the book? Right now, this is a book that I have a waiting list of 1 for. So all my hopes on selling this book, certainly this week, rest on the customer I've just spoken to. So that's the photographs done and all the information sent off to my potential customer. So all that we can do now is sit and wait, and hopefully I haven't made a big mistake. Okay, so a couple of days have passed and I think I've got a few more grey hairs on my head. So I thought I'd sit down and let you know where we stand now with our copy of the Gita. Unfortunately, we still don't have a deal agreed. I've been going back and forth with my customer, trying to make a deal that works for everyone, that's fair to him as the buyer, that's fair to me as the owner, and of course that's fair to the book itself. And we're not there. We've gone for, or at least I've offered what is my best offer, the best I can do with it. And now I just have to wait and see if that's going to be acceptable. If it isn't, then the rest of this video is going to be an uphill struggle. So fingers crossed. So I'm checking back in a couple days later, and I think today is going to be the day that something either happens or it doesn't. We sent our best offer through. We've gone back and forth a little bit more on terms, and I'm hoping later today I can give you the update to say that either the book's sold and we've managed to do it, or we've got some real work on our hands. So, did we manage to get it over the line? Well, I've just had a final conversation with my customer about the first edition of the Gita, and we've managed to come to an arrangement and we have a deal. So, having bought the book at the start of the week, we've managed to sell it by the end of the week. You probably want to know if I've made any money doing this. So we bought the book for £7,500 at the beginning of this week. But in the end, we've agreed a deal, agreed some payment terms. And that means that what I'll get out of it, if I get my calculator out, is in total, the final sales price I'll receive after fees and everything is £10,768.60. which does show us a profit of £3,268.60. But more important than that, the book is going to an incredibly good home. This is somebody who I've been talking to about the Gita for a long time. It was a collector who I first bonded with over our shared love of this book as a first edition. I saw him in New York last year, and talking about this book sort of rekindled our friendship. And now I have the privilege of sending it over to him and his private collection. So although this week has felt a bit hairy at times and a bit scary, looking at my bank account each morning, I think it's been a reasonable week's work.